During the course of your teaching service, you have received annual statements from the MTRS showing the balance of your annuity account, which is comprised of your retirement contributions and interest. So what happens to that money if you stop teaching before you're eligible for a retirement benefit? When you leave service, you have three choices. 1, you can leave your funds on account with us until a future date or event. 2, if you are eligible, you can begin receiving a retirement benefit. Or 3, you can withdraw your funds from the MTRS, which is known as taking a refund. Choice 1, leave your funds on account. You may leave your funds on account with us until such time as you return to public service, decide to withdraw your funds, or you become eligible for a retirement benefit. If you leave your funds on account, you do not need to notify us that this is what you are doing. We will simply keep your funds and continue to send you annual statements that show your balance and any activity, such as the addition of interest. Although your statement will reflect interest for each year, you may not be eligible to receive all of the accrued interest if you later apply for a refund. Provided you are not subject to any forfeiture provisions due to criminal conviction, the amount of interest you are entitled to receive is based on two factors: whether your leaving service was voluntary or involuntary, and how much creditable service you have. If you leave service by resigning voluntarily, and you have less than 10 years of creditable service, you will receive interest at a rate of 3% on your annuity account balance. If you have more than 10 years of service, you will receive interest at the actual rate it was credited. If you leave service by being involuntarily terminated, you will also receive interest at the actual rate at which it has been credited to your account, regardless of your years of creditable service. If you later return to a position that requires membership in a Massachusetts contributory retirement system, all interest reported on your statements will be credited. Additionally, since you left your money on account, when you start your new position, you will be entitled to your old contribution rate. In all cases, if you apply for a refund more than 2 years after the date of your termination of service, you are only eligible to receive interest accumulated for the 2 years immediately following your date of termination. For example, Mary Educator started teaching in June of 2007, left service in 2013, and applied for a refund 4 years later in 2017. Because she has less than 10 years of creditable service, she will receive interest at the rate of 3%. However, even though she has left her funds on account for 4 years, she will receive interest only for 2 years. If you have at least 10 years of creditable service, you can then leave your funds on account until you reach a certain age and are eligible to apply for a retirement benefit. If at the time you leave service you are in membership tier 1 and you are under the age of 55, you may leave your funds on account until you reach age 55, at which time you may then apply for a retirement benefit. Similarly, if you are in membership tier 2 and you are under age 60, you may leave your funds on account until you reach age 60, at which time you may apply for a retirement benefit. Choice 2. If eligible, receive a retirement benefit. If you are in membership tier 1, you are eligible for a retirement benefit with 20 years of creditable service at any age or age 55 with 10 years of service. If you are in membership tier 2, to be eligible you must be age 60 with at least 10 years of creditable service. Choice 3. Take a refund. When you take a refund, your membership in the MTRS ends and you give up the service represented by the funds in your account, as well as the right to any benefits based on your service credit. You will receive a lump sum payment of your retirement contributions, eligible interest, and any payments made to purchase past service or retirement plus accelerated contributions. This payment may be subject to federal tax withholdings and penalties depending on how and when you receive the funds. If you decide to take a refund, we cannot give you a partial refund. We must close out your annuity savings account and pay out the entire balance. Additionally, you may only take a refund if you are no longer in active service with the MTRS. The laws governing the MTRS do not allow for any hardship or other need-based withdrawal of funds for active employees. If you return to Massachusetts Public Service after receiving a refund, you will be considered a new employee and will be subject to the contribution rate that is in effect at the time of your reemployment, and not your old, possibly lower contribution rate. You will not be entitled to the creditable service you previously accumulated unless you choose to repay your refund plus interest if you later return to service with the MTRS or another contributory retirement system. Repayment of your prior refund will give you your creditable service back, but it will not return you to your old contribution rate. If you are currently a Tier 1 member and you take a refund, then later return to service, you would become a Tier 2 member and subject to less advantageous benefits than you would receive under Tier 1. Under Tier 2, you would have to work longer for the same or a similar benefit that you would receive under Tier 1, be subject to an increase in the salary average period used in the retirement benefit calculation from 3 years to 5 years, and an increase in the minimum retirement age from 55 to 60. There are 2 payment options for receiving a refund, either as a direct payment to you or a full or partial rollover to an eligible retirement plan, such as an IRA. If you receive your refund directly, it is subject to a 20% tax withholding. In many cases, if you are younger than 59 and a half, your refund will be subject to a 10% income tax penalty. However, we do not withhold this tax penalty from your refund. For example, if you had $20,000 in your account, we would withhold 20% for federal tax withholding, so your actual refund would be $16,000. However, if you are under 59 and a half, you would still be subject to a 10% early withdrawal penalty of $2,000 from the IRS, that being 10% of the original $20,000 balance of your annuity account. For more information about this penalty, contact your local IRS office or a qualified tax advisor. You may avoid both tax penalties by having the MTRS transfer the entire taxable portion of your refund into an eligible retirement plan. Additionally, if you have taken a direct refund, you can avoid these penalties by transferring the refund to a retirement plan yourself. This must be done within 60 days of receiving your refund, otherwise you will be subject to the tax penalties. If you take a direct refund, we must withhold 20% of the taxable portion. If you take a direct refund from us and then decide to roll over the pre-tax portion, you will need to use your own funds to make up the 20% that we withheld. Later, when you file your annual federal income taxes, you will be entitled to a refund from the IRS of the 20% that we originally withheld. Although federal law allows the MTRS to roll over your funds to various plans, not all of these plans must accept a rollover from the MTRS. Accordingly, you must check with the administrator of the plan into which you want to roll your payment as to whether that plan will accept a rollover from a 401A plan, which is how the MTRS is categorized by the IRS. To apply for a refund, you and a representative from your most recent school district will need to complete our refund application, which is available on our website. Remember, you must wait until after you have received your final paycheck to apply for a refund. You must complete Part 1 in its entirety. This is where you will select how you wish to receive your refund, either as a direct refund or a full or partial rollover. If you select to have a rollover, you will need to complete Section 5A and have Section 5B completed by an administrator of the plan into which you intend to roll your funds. Have a payroll official from your most recent school district complete Part 2 of the refund application. This section is vitally important, as it will verify that you have left employment in an MTRS position and are eligible to withdraw funds from the MTRS. This section must be completed by a payroll official from your most recent school district, even if it has been a number of years since you were an active employee. Once the completed Part 2 is returned to you, submit the entire application to our main office. Be sure that you mail the original completed application. We cannot accept faxed or emailed applications or photocopied sections. Once we receive your completed application and any supplemental documents, we will process your refund. This usually takes about 60 days from the date we receive all necessary documents. Be sure to weigh your options carefully. If you have 10 years of service and are close to being old enough to qualify for a retirement benefit, it may be more beneficial to leave your funds on account until you reach the eligible age. In any event, if you're unsure of your future plans, leaving your funds on account is always an option. If you have any questions about the refund process or your MTRS membership, please visit our website or call our main office at 617-679-6877. We're here to help. If you leave teaching service, and whether you take a refund, leave your funds on account, or eventually qualify for a retirement benefit, we at the MTRS wish you the best in your future endeavors. Thank you for your time.